All right, so listen to this. We're going deep on a case this time that's got it all.
Yeah.
It's like something straight out of a movie.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking old school spy stuff
Yeah.
mixed with like high-tech crypto and 100 million euros just floating around.
100 million euros.
100 million euros laundered.
Wow.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's a wild case for sure. It shows just how these criminal networks operate,
Yeah.
all across borders, different methods, just to make dirty money vanish. Poof, gone.
And the craziest thing is this whole thing started with Spanish border police just doing their thing,
Right.
noticing some people taking a few too many trips to Cyprus,
Mm-hmm.
always with like way too much cash in their luggage.
Sounds suspicious.
Right. Like they're trying to play it cool,
Mm.
but their suitcases are practically bursting at the seams.
And good on those border agents because they ended up seizing 1.8 million euros just from those routine checks.
Wow.
It's a good reminder that even with all our fancy digital banking, cash is still king for money laundering.
Yeah, that's a great point. Why even risk it, right? Like,
Yeah.
why lug around all that cash when you could just, transfer it online?
Well, see, that's where the whole cleaning process comes in.
Okay.
You gotta make that dirty money look legit somehow so they can actually use it without raising red flags.
Makes sense.
And cash is just harder to trace, especially when you're moving it across borders.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, sometimes, you need to pay for things discreetly under the table.
Right. For illegal goods or bribes.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like we're stepping back in time a bit
Yeah.
with secret agents and suitcases full of cash.
Haha. Right.
But then there's this whole other layer to this case, right?
Yeah.
They were also super into cryptocurrency.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they were playing both sides,
Uh-huh.
the physical and the digital.
Right. And that's what makes this case so interesting. It adds this whole other layer of complexity to money laundering.
Yeah.
Cryptocurrency transactions, they're hard to trace, especially across international borders.
Yeah.
And then there's the anonymity factor. It's like
Yeah.
a big draw for criminals.
Okay, hold on. Break this crypto thing down for me a bit.
Sure.
Like, I get the basics, but how does it actually work for money laundering?
Okay, so imagine this. A digital ledger that records every single transaction.
Okay.
But instead of names, you have these anonymous codes. It's like a secret language that only the people involved can understand.
So it's like a cloak of invisibility for their money.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Now, there are ways to track these transactions, but it's way harder than following a traditional bank transfer.
Gotcha. And what's even crazier is that these guys weren't just cleaning their own dirty money, right?
Right.
It was like a whole money laundering operation for other criminal organizations, too.
Exactly. They were like financial middlemen for different criminal enterprises,
Wow.
helping them move and disguise their ill-gotten gains. It really shows how interconnected organized crime is becoming.
Yeah.
These groups, they collaborate, they depend on each other to boost their profits.
And to make it even more complicated, they weren't working out of some like shady back alley or anything.
Right.
They were using legit businesses like commercial companies as fronts.
Mm-hmm. It's a classic money laundering tactic.
So it's like they were trying to blend in with the crowd?
Exactly. They set up these seemingly legit businesses.
Yeah.
Restaurants, import-export companies,
Okay.
art galleries, anything that can help them hide the real source of their money.
So these front companies basically help them mix dirty money with clean money.
Yeah, it makes it almost impossible to tell them apart.
So we've got this network spanning multiple countries.
Yep.
Using old school and new school tactics to launder millions of euros.
Million.
It's mind-blowing. How do authorities even begin to untangle something this complex?
Well, that's where international cooperation comes in. In this case, we saw Spanish, Cypriot, German, and French authorities all working together,
Wow.
along with Eurojust and Europol.
Okay, I've heard of Europol, but Eurojust is a new one for me. What's the deal with them?
Well, Eurojust is basically a hub for judicial cooperation between European countries.
Okay.
They help to overcome all the legal and logistical hurdles that pop up when cases cross borders.
So they're like the bridge between different legal systems.
Exactly. They facilitate communication, information sharing, and joint operations.
So they're like the glue that holds these huge multinational investigations together.
Precisely. They provide a platform for prosecutors and investigators from all these different countries to work together smoothly.
Huh.
They share information coordinate strategies and help ensure that evidence gathered in one country can be used in another.
That makes sense. So with this international team of law enforcement superstars, they were able to take down this whole network.
Well, let's get into the details of the takedown in the next segment.
Okay.
It's a story of careful planning, coordinated raids, and a whole lot of seized assets.
Sounds intense.
It is.
I'm ready.
Buckle up, because it's about to get even more interesting.
Okay, so we've got this whole network humming along, right? This money laundering machine. And then, bam, the authorities come crashing in.
Yeah, it was like something out of a movie. These coordinated raids happening all at once across multiple countries.
Wow.
Cars screeching, doors getting kicked. In that element of surprise is crucial.
Yeah, got to catch them off guard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how they managed to dismantle this whole operation.
So a perfectly executed takedown.
You could say that they ended up conducting 91 searches.
91.
91 searches across all these different countries, targeting the network's key players and all those front companies they set up.
Wow, 91. That really shows you the scale of this thing.
For sure. And the results were impressive. 23 arrests right off the bat, taking out the network's leadership and really disrupting their whole operation.
23 arrests. That's huge. But arrests are one thing. Did they actually manage to recover any of the money?
Oh, they did more than recover it. They hit these guys where it hurts in their wallets. We're talking 8 million euros seized in cash. Another 2 million frozen in bank accounts, and get this, a whopping 27 million euros in cryptocurrency frozen as well.
Whoa, that's got to sting. I bet getting their hands on that crypto wasn't easy, though, right?
Not at all. Tracking and seizing crypto is a whole new ballgame for law enforcement. It takes specialized expertise, international collaboration, and often, new legal frameworks.
Right, because it's all this digital stuff.
Exactly. Remember that cloak of invisibility we talked about?
Yeah.
Well, authorities are having to develop new tools and techniques to pierce that veil.
So it's not just about catching these criminals. It's about pushing the boundaries of law enforcement in the digital age.
You got it. This case is setting a precedent for future investigations that involve cryptocurrency.
That's pretty significant.
It shows that authorities are taking this threat seriously and they're willing to invest the resources to combat it.
That's good to hear. But even with all this success, is this really just a drop in the bucket? I mean, money laundering is such a huge global problem.
It's true. It's a constant battle. For every network they take down, there are others ready to take their place.
Ugh, it's kind of discouraging.
But this case does send a powerful message. It shows that international cooperation can work, that law enforcement is adapting to the challenges of the digital age, and that criminals who engage in money laundering will be pursued and brought to justice.
So it's not a hopeless fight.
Not at all. Cases like this give us valuable insights into how money launderers are operating. They help authorities identify weaknesses, develop new strategies, and ultimately stay one step ahead.
It's like a constant game of cat and mouse.
Exactly. Speaking of staying ahead of the curve, this case raises an important question for all of us. What can we do as individuals to help combat money laundering?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's easy to feel like money laundering is this big problem that's totally out of our control, But is there actually anything we can do?
Definitely, awareness is huge. Just understanding the signs of money laundering can make a big difference, and being careful in our own financial dealings.
Okay, so what should we be on the lookout for? Like, what are some red flags that something shady might be going on?
Well, think about the businesses you go to.
Okay.
Are there any that seem to be doing really well, even though they don't seem to have many customers? Or their business model seems kind of iffy?
Yeah.
Do they mostly use cash or have prices that are like way lower than their competitors? Those could be signs of a front company.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess it's about paying attention to those gut feelings,
Mhm.
right? When something just feels a little off.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to ask questions either. Especially if you're thinking about investing in a company or a financial product, do your research, understand where their money's coming from. And if something seems weird, trust your instincts.
So it's all about being informed consumers, basically. Doing our homework and not being afraid to walk away from something that seems too good to be true.
That's it. And remember, if you do see something suspicious, you can always report it to the authorities.
Right.
Even a small tip can help law enforcement put together those bigger investigations.
It's like we can be citizen detectives in a way.
Yeah, exactly. We all have a role to play in protecting our financial systems. And it's not just about stopping criminals. It's about protecting ourselves and our communities from all the consequences of money laundering.
Because money laundering really fuels so many other criminal activities.
Right?
Right. It's not just a financial crime. It's a threat to everyone.
Exactly. It's a lifeline for organized crime, terrorism, and corruption. It lets these groups operate, grow, and cause harm. By going after money laundering, we're hitting these criminal enterprises right where it hurts.
It's wild to think this whole deep dive started with some border agents just noticing some weird travel patterns.
I know, it's amazing, right?
Really shows that even the smallest actions can make a difference.
Absolutely. It's a good reminder that we're all part of a larger system and our choices and actions matter.
Well, I think we've covered a lot today. From suitcases full of cash to cryptocurrency, we've really got a good look at this whole world of international money laundering.
It's been fascinating for sure.
Yeah, it has.
And I hope it's helped our listeners to be more aware and informed about this issue.
Yeah, because as we've learned, it's something that affects us all.
It does.
So until next time, everyone stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember knowledge is power.
Absolutely.